These are the biggest winners and losers of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, at least according to Deadball TV. And before I get into that, I just want to say that this is our last video covering the tournament, and I've had a blast doing so, largely because of you guys, because of y'all who have been active in the live streams, who have been active in the comments, and who have meticulously debated every single game that's gone on in the Discord. So shout out to y'all. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, jump in the Discord, link down below. I think you're going to find a lot of like-minded individuals, a lot of good footy conversations going on, and I would hate for you guys to miss out on that. So just want to put that little announcement, little thank you out there. Now let's get into it. I didn't sleep that well last night, so we're going to start it with a negative, a loser. And my biggest loser of the entire tournament is Jamaica and Hallgrímsson. Perhaps there's an argument on paper that how Jamaica did, losing the semifinals, doesn't look bad. But if you actually analyze game by game, it looks like this. 25 good minutes of football against the United States and then flat the rest of the game. Dominated Trinidad, Tobago, and St. Kitts and Nevis. Congratulations, nobody cares. And then you scrape and claw a victory against Guatemala in the quarterfinals, largely due to some world-class saves by Andre Blake. And then you get absolutely ran off the pitch, dominated by Mexico. I would go so far as to say even the most pessimistic Reggae Boys fans had the team doing better than that. In the 12 games in charge, Hallgrímsson's best win is that quarterfinals win against Guatemala. It's absolutely embarrassing for the amount of talent on this team. I'm not a Jamaica hater. Y'all know I love Andre Blake. Y'all know that I praised at least the potential of this team. But under Hallgrímsson, and really under every other manager before him, we don't see it. Bobby Reed was an absolute ghost this tournament, and he was a guy who I expected to be their best player. Leon Bailey, I don't know if he just went on the carnivore diet or he's just not used to playing in this temperature, completely lost his first touch, and Michail Antonio somehow lost 30 pounds of muscle from the end of the Premier League season to the beginning of the Gold Cup. Only Damari Gray looked somewhat promising. The only guy from the Jamaican All-Stars, at least, that showed a little bit of passion. And what does that say about the vibe in the locker room? That only the young guy, the new blood to the team, is the only one that looks excited to be there. I think it's a really bad sign for Jamaica. I think this was an absolute catastrophic failure, and it might be time to blow the whole thing up and start again, because I didn't see anything from Hallgrímsson to suggest that he's the right man for the job. I don't even feel comfortable saying they're a lock for 2026. That's how little hope I have for them right now, and you hate to see it. I want Jamaica to be good, but I haven't seen anything encouraging. Next up, we got a cold take. Big winner, Panama, and specifically Carrasquilla, who won MVP of the tournament. And I really don't think there's any argument whatsoever, y'all can try to make one in the comments, for another player winning MVP. Every single time Carrasquilla took the pitch, he was either the best or the second best player. I've seen him linked to Rayo Vallecano and a couple other European leagues. I would be absolutely shocked if he doesn't leave the Dynamo soon, and that's a massive dub for him and for Panama. Panama came into this tournament with the 6th highest odds to make the final, which I always thought was a little crazy, but they really proved, I think, everybody wrong. Not just by making the final, but the manner in which they made the final. And the manner in which they performed in the final, which, yeah, Mexico win it 1-0, but there's a couple opportunities in that game where Panama go ahead. Thomas Christiansen has done an amazing job. Honestly, he's converted me into a pseudo-Panamanian fan. I think this team is an absolute lock for 2026, and I don't really see an argument to suggest otherwise. This is the best Panama side I've ever seen. I want to shout out Godoy, Mosquera, Fidel Escobar, Barcenas, even Fajardo, and I'm going to shout out my boy Eric Davis. Great campaign from all those guys. Super excited to see what Panama do in the future. Next up, another loser, John Herdman. I really like John Herdman, but maybe hot take, I think his stock has just fallen lower and lower and lower since the World Cup. I said in our prediction video before the tournament that I needed a trademark John Herdman victory. And we got close. Maybe he got close with that US game, but in the end, he fell short. And I know Canada didn't bring the A team. I know they left the stars at home, much like the United States, and Mexican stars were absent from this tournament as well. But still, Canada were terrible to watch in the Gold Cup. They were outplayed by Guatemala. They scrape a draw against Guadeloupe, and then they thrash Cuba. But everybody thrashes Cuba. So there's some context to the failure, which is the team isn't very good, but still needed to see more from Herdman. And Canada overall, this isn't even really a loser, but maybe y'all's fans are losers, or the Federation maybe is a loser, because I don't understand a team that has one major trophy in the region sending this poor of a roster. I could understand if they won the 2021 Gold Cup or if they won the Nations League a month ago, but they didn't. So how is Canada, a team that, with all due respect, are completely irrelevant in the world of football, disrespecting the tournament this much? If I'm a Canadian fan, I'm pissed off because this was a great opportunity to see the A team get more reps together. We know they've had friendlies get canceled in the past, and to win a tournament. You could have played Mexico, a strong Mexico side, in the final. That definitely would have been something to celebrate, and y'all were robbed. Another loser, we're going a couple losers back to back here, and that's Jesus Ferreira. And I say this because on the pitch, the man was a winner. But goddamn, off the pitch, he might be the most hated U.S. men's national team player right now. And I don't really rate Ferreira at all, but the toxic dialogue that follows this guy, I guess I just kind of feel bad for him. So I guess on a personal level, he's a loser to me because he was kind of damned if he did, damned if he didn't. If he goes out there and he puts up back-to-back hat tricks, he's Pirates of the Caribbean. If he goes out there and he flops, well then, we told you so, you're not good enough for the national team. I think he was top 5 in chances created in this tournament. He finishes with 7 goals, maybe got an assist or 2. From a personal level, he pretty much did everything he needed to do. And I think he proved that he probably at least has a spot in like a 23, 26-man roster. Not a starter, don't get me twisted, but on the bench somewhere, you know, maybe third option at the 9 or something. I think he did enough to at least have the discussion. But the way people are talking about this guy, you would think he was Alejandro Zendejas, who was my next loser. This was supposed to be a statement tournament for Zendejas, a guy who's obviously a dual national between Mexico and the United States, one who was fought over, one who I was upset that Mexico lost, and many other Mexican fans agreed with me. And we didn't see a single thing this Gold Cup. I'm going to state right now, and you guys let me know if you disagree, nobody's stock fell further from this tournament than Zendejas. I think a lot of U.S. men's national team fans had him in a 23-man squad, again, as a bench player, rotation guy, maybe somebody gets injured, he gets slotted in. But after this Gold Cup, 4 games, 1 assist, it's not enough. And sure, should he be playing as a midfielder? Is winger really the right position to get the best out of Zendejas? We can have that discussion in the comments, but the fact of the matter is the performances that were executed on the pitch are not good enough. We're talking about a Liga MX all-star who looked like one of the worst American players at the tournament. And that's saying something because Sonora, Aiden Morris, and Aaron Long all played minutes in this tournament. Can Zendejas bounce back? Probably, but I don't know when his next really good opportunity is going to be. He might have to wait until the 2025 Gold Cup to get this type of run again with the team. Next up, we got another winner, and that is Guatemala. Winning the group was an absolutely insane achievement. I know that Canada were woeful. I know that Guadeloupe are just Guadeloupe and Cuba are Cuba, but still, how many people had Guatemala winning? I certainly didn't. I had them in second place, and they completely outperformed my expectations. And maybe I gave them some bonus points for the way in which they won the group. That Nicholas Hagen 87th minute penalty save against Guadeloupe on the final match day. I mean, that is a football story right there, and I was loving every single second of it. Their fans showed out. They sold out every single game that Guatemala played in. And yeah, they lose to Jamaica in the quarterfinals, but they pushed this Jamaica team to the brink. I mean, like I said, if Andre Blake doesn't make some incredible point-blank saves, Guatemala are through and they're playing Mexico. They have a Mexican manager, Luis Fernando Tena, who's got them playing very, very good football. Even if you look at their previous results, there's a lot to like about the direction that Guatemala are headed in. And I saw a quote from him that he said, even if Mexico call him about the job, he's not leaving. He wants to take Guatemala to the World Cup. So I think that's another reason to have Guatemala be a winner, because they got a good manager. They're in a good run of form. They impressed at this tournament. What's not to like? Based on this Gold Cup campaign, that 2026 World Cup spot actually seems like a possibility. And maybe I was hating, maybe I was blind, but before this tournament, I don't know if I could say that about Guatemala. You know what Central American team is not feeling too good about their Gold Cup campaign? El Salvador. But El Salvador are not my loser in this case, at least not primarily. For me, it's Hugo Perez. This is a manager who was considered for the vacant U.S. men's national team position. There's probably some romance to that because he's a former U.S. men's national team player, but I think we need to put that aside and truly take a look at what this man is doing on the pitch with this team. In 41 games in charge, Hugo Perez has 9 wins. Guys, he has lost 50% of his matches in charge, 20 losses with this team. And yes, El Salvador are not very good. They pretty much rely on the Heel brothers to do anything offensively, but still, we can talk about the players separately. Right now, I'm talking about a manager who I'm not really seeing him do much. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not saying sack him, but I don't want to hear this, oh, Hugo Perez, look at the amazing job he's doing with El Salvador, because I don't see it. They lose to 10-men Martinique 2-1 in the opening match day, which I think is the probably most embarrassing result from the entire group stage. Then they come out pretty flat against Costa Rica, in which was hands down the worst game of the entire group stage. And then on the last match day, when it really matters, when they really need a win, They can't beat a Panama side who rotated the entire squad. They draw 2-2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for most Salvadorian fans, they were a little optimistic about this tournament. You know, hey, maybe we make the quarterfinals. I saw a lot of people's prediction videos who had them in the quarterfinals. Some even had them in the semifinals. I don't know what y'all were paying attention to, but I digress. But after this Gold Cup, what can you be optimistic about? Any Salvadorans watching, y'all let me know in the comments. Are you guys confident you get one of those 3 World Cup spots for 2026? Because Panama's taken 1, so really there's only 2 left. Can y'all really beat out a Jamaica, Honduras, a Costa Rica, even a Haiti for that final spot? I don't think so. If this was a stock, if El Salvador's national team was a stock, I'm selling all of it, man. Hate to say it, but it's true. And the last loser of the Gold Cup is the tournament's prestige. And I think this one's pretty self-explanatory, and I won't get a lot of pushback in the comments. I mean, to start with, you got the US and Canada sending B and C teams to the tournament, which just, what kind of message does that send? We don't really need to rehash this a lot. I feel like I've already talked about it on live streams and other videos, but why didn't the U.S. just send a proper B team? By proper B team, I mean a Taylor Booth. I mean a Luca de la Torre. I mean a Cameron Carter-Vickers. Why didn't we get those guys here? And for Canada, I said it earlier, absolutely embarrassing that a team with this little pedigree sends this squad to the continental tournament. It's honestly shameful. And do you know what else is shameful? Qatar being the invitee again. Guys, y'all know I love Asian football, and I still think that this invitee is a joke. I know they're sponsoring the tournament. I know they probably blew a bag to get Qatar Airways as the sponsor. I don't care. You want to make the competition better? Invite a better team. And to cap it all off, you got the messy reveal happening during the Gold Cup final. This has to be top 3 most disrespectful things I've ever seen in international football. I know that's probably not a CONCACAF decision, that's an MLS decision, but still, my overall point is the prestige of the tournament has taken a hit. And anybody who opens up their channel guide and sees that the Messi reveal and the Panama-Mexico final are at the same time, I mean, does anything say Mickey Mouse more than that scenario? And the icing on the cake is just the whole debate that has happened online after the tournament about to what degree should Mexico celebrate the victory, which I just think all of this compounded makes CONCACAF look like such a joke. You guys might have noticed there's no Mexican winners or losers on this video, and that's because I dropped a video that's an hour and a half long talking just about Mexico with Football Asada. It was a really awesome collab. It dropped yesterday. You guys can find that on the channel if you want to see all of my thoughts and their thoughts about Mexico's Gold Cup campaign. Thank you guys for watching until the end of the video. Make sure you leave a like if you did enjoy, and let me know your biggest winner or loser that I forgot, that I omitted, down below in the comments. You can find the Discord and our social media links down below in the description of this video. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.